Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. And of course, here's your meme of the day, brought to you by FiveMind.com. It seems like Joe Rogan has finally opened up his eyes at least a little bit. You know, we all know that Joe Rogan is a Bernie Sanders fan. If Bernie Sanders was on the ticket, Joe Rogan would be voting for him. That's why it's a complete joke when the Democrats are saying we need to find our own Joe Rogan. I mean, you literally have your own Joe Rogan. He's a democratic socialist. He's been a Bernie bro through and through, but it seems slowly, as it usually is with Joe Rogan, he's slowly starting to realize that maybe he's been duped. You know, I think he's accepted this notion that a lot of people seem to buy into, that Bernie Sanders is a real honest man, a real politician of integrity. But reality is starting to kick in as people are realizing he's not. He's a liar. He's a massive liar. He's not some independent grandpa warrior for the working class. It's all a brand. It's an image. He's got a far left shtick going, a little con job that he's been running for decades at this point. That's another thing you ought to ask yourself, right? All this time in government, ranting about the exact same frickin' things, but what has Bernie Sanders actually accomplished in terms of policy? What has he done outside of his failed presidential ambitions? Well, anyways, people are starting to wake up to his ways, I think, and Joe Rogan seems to be one of them. Let me show you guys this clip, and of course, let's talk about everything surrounding it. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so take a look at this. Joe Rogan turns on Bernie Sanders.
Bernie Sanders making a post about how Donald Trump is trying to silence independent media was the wildest fucking gaslighting I think I've ever seen from a politician. Independent media? You mean fucking CBS? You mean CBS that edited that Kamala Harris interview to make it look like she had a really good point?
Quote, it's gotta be some of the wildest effing gaslighting I've ever seen from a politician. Exactly, right? Bernie Sanders, such an honest, down-to-earth, independent man. Give me a frickin' break. He's been pushing this rhetoric for months that Donald Trump is attacking the free press. You know, for such an honest person, Bernie Sanders, I gotta tell you, does certainly seem to lie a whole lot. Remember all the lies that he was pushing during Elon Musk's Doge initiative? You know, it's crazy how you get a reputation of being such an honest politician when all you do is lie. And the worst part about so many of his lies is that they support the exact establishment that seems to hate him. He'll sully his own credibility and his own reputation to push the DNC's propaganda. Ooh, such an honest man. Yeah, there's no such thing. Honesty and socialism don't frickin' go together. And this whole notion that Trump is trying to silence independent media, he's talking about what? CBS? Exactly like Rogan said. Massive media outlets controlled by billionaire and corporate interests. You know, I thought Bernie Sanders hated that kind of stuff, but it's funny how he's always engaging with those outlets and never really truly engages with independent media. But this idea that Trump is muzzling the news or muzzling journalists, of course not. He's using the same legal tools that every America has access to when media corporations lie with reckless disregard. Libel, slander, defamation. It can be illegal sometimes when it crosses a certain line, when it's not a mistake, but rather it's led with malice. And of course, we've seen 10 years of coordinated smears, targeted hit pieces, just constant fake news and slander targeting the president. And the president takes some legal action to protect his name and his reputation, and supposedly now he's a crypto fascist that wants to silence the free press. Give me a frickin' break. And the worst part is, Bernie, that's your party. That's all the stuff that you were supporting for the last however many years. I don't remember Bernie Sanders sticking his neck out to protect me and my free speech rights, as well as every other independent journalist that was being censored from 2016 all the way through the COVID nonsense and the end of Biden's presidency. I don't remember a single word about Joe Biden and the Democrats silencing independent press. This guy's the biggest frickin' con artist on planet Earth. And actually what's funny is that I found him saying the same thing on Joe Rogan's show, I believe this was last year. And just watch how Joe Rogan tore it apart.
He is suing the Des Moines Register because of a poll that came out during the campaign that he didn't like. He is suing CBS for this Kamala Harris interview. So do I think, how many, I cannot tell you the number of stories done about me that were not good stories.
Right.
That were dishonest stories. That's what a free press is about. You don't like it, you got to live with it. You do something, I'm not going to sue you, Joe.
Right, but it's not that simple, right? Like, let's imagine, let's not talk about Trump, but let's talk about another candidate. Let's just imagine there's someone on the right and someone on the left, and there's a concerted effort to promote this person that's on the right. And so the polls are rigged, or these are funded polls that make it look like this person on the right is winning by a substantial margin. And what this does is decreases the motivation that people have to come out and vote against them.
That's happening.
So it's fake.
By the way,
right?
that happens right now.
Engineer. It is happening right now. And I think, is that part of what he's suing them about?
No, but doesn't look.
But isn't that what he's suing them about?
Well, he's suing ABC for one thing.
But with the Des Moines Register about the poll.
Yeah, I know the pollster there.
Was the poll incorrect?
Yeah, the poll was wrong. So what?
Right.
Guess what?
And so, Bernie, you've already met pushback on this pathetic talking point. Joe Rogan ridiculed you the last time when you tested it, and now you're taking it to a whole other level, and you got your own supporters like Joe Rogan scratching their own head, wondering, what the hell's wrong with this guy? Why is he lying? Well, because Bernie is a coward. And this, of course, is the latest Democrat talking point, right? We heard Chuck Schumer and other people pushing it, that Donald Trump doesn't believe in the free press. The mainstream media is in his pocket. He's wielding them. He's manipulating them. He's threatening them with these lawsuits to push his fake news. Now he's defending himself legally. And all this, to me, it just speaks to Bernie Sanders' little act, because that's all it is. It's a freaking shtick. He pretends as if he's an independent, right? He's registered as an independent, but he's as DNC establishment as they get. He's a Democrat. He just uses the whole independent thing as a marketing shtick. He says he's independent, yet he caves every single time the DNC applies pressure on him. Every single time the Democrats are engaged in some pathetic propaganda play, he's taking to the podium, he runs to the spotlight to these press conferences and pushes the Democrat talking point time and time again. If he was truly independent, he wouldn't be doing that, especially after the Democrat Party has treated him from 2016 to 2020. They smeared him, they sidelined him, they basically worked to shut down his campaign. The mainstream media worked against him, not only writing fake news stories to discredit his campaign, but refusing to give him airtime, not allowing him to speak during the primary. The independent media that he's sticking his neck out to protect from evil Donald Trump. The Democrat Party embarrasses him time and time again. They don't allow true democracy. They reject his platform. And yet, every time, after everything they've done to him, he comes back to do their bidding. He comes back and endorses them. He's a liar and a coward. He's honestly one of the biggest frauds in politics. And it's on so many different issues. Illegal migration is the first that comes to mind. Bernie Sanders always lecturing us about illegal immigration.
I don't think it is appropriate for people to be coming across the border illegally. You don't have a country without borders. If you have borders, you should enforce that border. Democrats have not done as good a job as they should, period.
Nobody supports illegal immigration. No, my Democrat colleagues don't support illegal immigration. And certainly I don't.
Healthcare is a human right for all, including, by the way, the undocumented in this country.
I mean, come on, which one is it? You're speaking out of both sides of your freaking mouth. And then when we look at your voting patterns, when we look at the people that you surround yourself with, like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, who hands out freaking pamphlets to illegal migrants showing them how to avoid ICE deportation, or try to avoid ICE deportation, you're a liar. You are the rich. You are the elite. You rag against, the big media and their corrupt ways. You enable them. Whether it's the mainstream media or the big corporations, the insurance companies and big pharma companies that fund your freaking campaign as you push for a system that would benefit them and not the people. This universal healthcare nonsense. You want to take power out of the hands of the individual, of the consumer, and put it in the hands of massive corporations or in the hands of the government, which is even worse. You're not for the people, you're not genuine, you're not an independent, and you're certainly not honest. You're a non-stop liar and gaslighter. And even Joe Rogan, your biggest freaking fan, seems to be realizing it. Anyways, that's what I got for you guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.